Good afternoon, another great day in the office. Today we're going to meet John from Foster's, who does all of Prestige and Village's mortgage work, him and his company. So let's go to the bar, see if he's bought me a beer. Ah, John.
There you go.
Good man. Cheers, good luck to you.
Good health and all that.
Yeah, you well?
Very good.
Great to see you, pal. Have you had a good week?
Very good week. Busy. Trying to make some stuff happen.
Ends meet?
Yeah. Yeah, just about.
So John, tell me about Foster's. A great organisation, great name, slick. It means what it says on the tin. How did it start? And tell me about yourself.
Well, not very originally named. Foster's is my surname.
Right, okay,
so
fair enough.
I think,
Not the beer.
No.
Not one night and a few chilies.
Please don't correlate with them. That's not a very nice one.
No.
So, yeah, one of my wishes is that I'd been a bit more imaginative when I'd named it. But so it rolls off the tongue. But so Foster's, we're based in Colchester. We've got a team of 12 at the moment. And they're all based in the office, but they look after primarily independent estate agents across the east and southeast. Business is 10 years old, and we're on a 3-year growth phase at the moment. Wow. So we're trying to grow our business over the next 3 years. So the team is all focused on December 2028 is that end goal of getting to a certain size and volume and all of that sort of stuff. So that's the business. We do your regular everyday Halifax, NatWests, etc. Plenty of our lenders available, but we also do the more bespoke products from the likes of some of your private banking outfits, which is obviously what we use more for your clients, both the registered ones and the unregistered ones. So we do lots of that end as well, and then on top of that, we make sure that not only do we get them into a load of debt, that we make sure we can get them out of a load of debt if something terrible happens, and we have a specific team that look after that to make sure that people's families are protected should something
So you've done this in a 10-year programme, and I know what business is like. You spend most of your nights waking up, wandering, steering in the abyss. Yeah. 3 o'clock, you can always call me up because I'm up thinking about that sort of stuff. But 10 years in the financial services trade, a consistent change, always moving through it. And did you start off as a broker? Or did you start off? And tell me about that.
Before that, I worked for Spice of Heart.
Okay, yeah.
Now, a lot of people have mixed things to say about them, but I actually loved my time there. They treated me very well. I was one of the top 3 in the country, so I was looked after very well.
Nice. Where in Colchester? Or?
Colchester, yeah. So I was based in Colchester, and I looked after the
head office is there for them, isn't it?
Yeah. Right, I wasn't in the head office, I was in the branches. So they had 3 brands that I looked after, which was Cheaton Rose, Hart, and Spice and McColl at the time.
Yeah.
So I looked after those 3 bands for a period of time, and loved my time there. But my time naturally came to an end.
Quite a good, as I say, corporates go. They're quite a good company to work for, and I would say, you use the phrase "cut your teeth."
Yeah. I mean, I would say that to anyone who's wanting to get in the industry. Really, is cut your teeth at a corporate, because they really understand how our business works, and they make it work very, very well, in my opinion, to a certain point.
Yeah, of course. And then the independent wings start budding.
Yeah, absolutely.
And where was the journey from there?
Yeah, so straight from independent agency, I started Foster's Financial. So that was 10 years ago. Before that, I worked in banking for a little bit.
So you had that figure brain, did you?
Well, I did. I mean, when I say banking, sometimes people think I was like, some people think I was like stocks and shares and that sort of thing with braces and ties. I wasn't. I was like a cashier.
Right, okay.
I am literally no exams, no qualifications, but
you're cashier number 3, please. Was that right?
That was me. And I was the one that was never balanced. There was always a problem.
Right. Okay.
And they quickly got me out of the cashier role and into the sales role when they realised that was where my natural natural skill set was. Yeah, absolutely. So so worked in banking for a bit of time.
Brilliant.
And set up Foster's 10 years ago, as I said.
So I mean, setting Foster's up. I mean, you obviously went and did your exams and qualified. And it was you, or did you have a business partner with you? Or?
No, it's always been me.
Fair play.
Yeah, it's always been me. So to start with, it was me at my kitchen table. I quickly took an assistant on to do all my admin and my paperwork and get that out. So I did that within 3 months, because I hate
Yes.
all of that stuff.
Me too.
No good at it. I can talk to people all day long, but get me to fill in a form, and that's where it all goes wrong.
Internal melt going on. Yes.
So I got someone to do that, and then suddenly all of these agents started saying, "Look, John, can we send our clients to you? We'd really like to work with you." People that I'd known from the corporate world and various other things. So, and then it just snowballed. And then I probably got 2 or 3 years, and I thought, actually, if I was a bit more serious about this, I could really make something of this and really take it somewhere. So that's when really my business life started.
Yeah.
Before then, I was playing at it really. We were earning good money, but it was all based on me. I didn't really have a business. I had a well-paid job.
Lifestyle business.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So then about 3 years in, I started talking to coaches, and I've had coaches ever since.
Have you?
In one form or another.
Yeah, nice.
I think being self-employed has got lots of perks. But the two things that I hate about it is that, one, there's no league tables, so I can no longer compete because you can't get access to that stuff. Mm-hmm. And two, there's no one to say, John, you said you were going to do this last week, you haven't done it. Why
I think kind of, I'm 35 years in that league now, and it's quite a lonely place sometimes at the top, and the decision making and the worrying and the cash flow. That we all have in businesses,
Absolutely.
A lot of people don't see that day to day. That it is an anxiety.
Yeah,
and then you need to employ to keep the clients, and that's more money, especially with the minimum wages now. It's not so easy as it was. No. That's quite a high bar now.
Well, you just see the highlight reel, right? You see the McLarens and the Lamborghinis and all of that sort of stuff that you've got, Matt, and then and then the rest of us struggle through,
Parked in Dubai.
But you don't see the having to meet payroll on the last Friday of the month. All that sort of stuff.
It all goes. It looked nice.
Yeah.
So tell me, world affairs at the moment.
Yeah.
We've got. We have interest in Dubai, as you know.
Yes.
And I'm sitting here thinking, oh dear.
Okay.
And I'm sure it will pan out. But there's a massive anxiety in the Middle East. Mm-hmm. And do you think that would put a hype back into the mortgage market on people returning back here? And what's your view on the mortgage market at the moment?
Okay, well, I'll do the mortgage market one first, if that's all right, because that's a lot easier.
Yeah.
So the mortgage market is strong. The lenders want to lend. There's no getting away from that.
Yeah.
There is big.
They need to lend, right?
They need to lend. Yeah. They want to lend. They need to hit their targets. I think they don't publicly say this, but I think a lot of them missed target last year, and they're keen to make that not be the case this year. So lenders are being, I hasten to use the word aggressive, but they're definitely being as close to aggressive as you can get without being it, if that makes sense.
And can I quickly interrupt so people can understand this?
Sure.
Because there's someone who doesn't know our business. When you say a lender's not hit target, what does that actually mean to the general public? Why they're not hit target? Because if they not hit target because of what would you think that would be?
Well, I think it's a multitude of things. What I mean by not hit target is they've not lent enough pounds and pence.
Yeah. Okay.
So ultimately, lenders have a target of how much they want to lend in a 12-month period. And I think a lot of lenders didn't quite hit those numbers last year for a multitude of reasons. One was certainly economy. We had the unfortunate budget that was moved and prolonged. That meant people sat on their hands a lot for the last quarter of last year, which ultimately then people weren't borrowing the mortgages that they wanted and so on and so forth. So that was definitely a big impact, I feel. The other things that go around it are, inflation, wage, people waiting for drops. Yeah. So I think generally the economy wasn't kind to us last year.
Yeah.
So they're wanting to absolutely change that.
And do you see that changing? The first quarter this year, it's been it's been okay-ish for us. And we're not running away or anything. I don't think our end. I don't think anyone is. It's kind of steady shipping. If that makes sense.
I would concur with that. I wasn't happy with our start in January. February was better. Yeah. We were about 3 or 4 grand off the PB, so that's a small margin in our business. To be hitting a personal best in terms of written volumes, I think we'll come in on target. I don't think we're going to be running away with it, as the phrase you used.
And do you think, going back to my original question about, I don't want to get too political here, there obviously are the lenders that you deal with, which are in the Middle East. I mean, what do you think the certainty of the banking and mortgage work over there? So will that have an impact on the mortgage markets over here, or whether you think, what's your view on where the buying trends? I know it's a big crystal ball, but do you think that will have as far as banking goes?
I don't think it'll have an effect of buying trends. I think it might have a short-term impact, which is what we're hearing and feeling now, of people wanting to go, okay, well, if I was about to move to the Middle East, I'll just take a breather for a moment, and just see what perhaps happens over the next few months. But I think, as with anything, you get a knee-jerk reaction and then an easing back in. Yeah, we're in knee-jerk reaction phase right now, and I think that will ease over a period of time. Obviously, it's only my view, but
no, I think you're right.
People want to move there for a reason.
I think also it opens up, what the Middle East can do. I think when Dubai has a wonderful bubble of safety, tax-free, and all the elements which we all get drawn to, a very vibrant, almost recession-proof climate until, a war just shows you maybe we're not war-proof. Yeah, exactly.
Well, we spoke about the war chest earlier on today.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, drastically going down at the moment, but they're needed, though, aren't they? And I think kind of not war chests, and I think kind of over there that there's an uncertainty from my point of view on sales now, which is going to affect the mortgage market over there. Well, it have to, won't it?
Yeah, and I think I saw I'm a big Formula One fan. And Qatar Airways sponsor the Australian Grand Prix, and they this weekend didn't attend. They cancelled all their hospitality.
So what is going to happen to Abu Dhabi and the F1 things if it's all going over? I mean, that's a big question. That may be another question, but yes, because
that is a big
being
one.
an F1 fan, I mean, when's the first opening back and when?
So it was this weekend in Australia.
Okay.
So the next one is China. Right. So I guess they'll see where they're at.
It goes from there, yeah.
I think we're as we sit here now. I think we're a bit too early to
make any
know any of this really. But what we're seeing from a mortgage market point of view is that not necessarily the Middle East piece, but what that is having a bigger global effect on is pricing.
Of course.
Price of oil is going up. Price of commodities is going up. Price of what mortgages, without wanting to get too technical, mortgages are based on swap rates. Swap rate prices are going up, which means that we have seen over the last 5 or 6 days mortgage rates tweak up ever so slightly. When I say ever so slightly, we're talking about 0.1.
0.1,
which isn't really going to make a huge difference, but unfortunately the press does make a lot of it.
Of course they do. Tell me about how you're enjoying working with Prestige and Village. I mean, we've noticed in the property partners which you're working with at the moment and sort of involving us, and some are doing fantastic well. And I've got to say, Oliver, who works with you, what a guy. What a guy getting applications through. So you're standing up to merit. Tell me about your company a bit more.
Let's not let his head get too big, eh? But,
exactly that.
We get a lot of good feedback about Ollie. He's a young guy, but he is full of gusto and bravo, and he just really wants to get cracking, which is good. But I mean, so we're about 3 months in?
3 months in now, and I think we've really welcomed you on board across a couple of the companies we've got. And as you know, you've been getting mortgage applications through a lot quicker than some of the other companies we've been involved with. So well done.
Good.
And I want to know your secret, but I suppose you can't tell me your secret. But I think the polish you've got, the application, and I'd call the modern view that you've given to the approach to mortgages is unique. Am I right saying that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so I created Foster's Financial to bring independent estate agency an option in financial services. I think what we see as agents, talking about high end, mid end, everything in between, is that in an independent world, very, very good at selling houses, but it's perhaps the ancillary services that we're not quite so good at. And in the corporate world, they're very, very good at the ancillary service, but they are absolutely useless at the regular estate agency, if you like. They make all their money out of the stuff. So what we're trying to do as a business is bring that corporate offering without the corporate hat, but just in terms of the way they do things and how successful they make those ancillary services to the independent world. And as you know well, and you've seen, we've got a particular passion for the high-end stuff that's a little bit more
bespoke.
A little bit more interesting with the equestrian acreages, timber framed, older properties. But probably more interesting than that from the guy's point of view is it's the things they do with people that don't fit the mould in terms of, their incomes and all that sort of stuff.
And tell me, I mean, when you've got all that way things have changed as well, the form filling, the applications, and I know for just being a personal businessman, going in to see a bank now, what? It's a bank with one person, and remember the sketch the computer says no. So tell me, how are you dealing with the applications, and do they have the same problems with applications? Have you overcome that in your organisation to deal with the hierarchy of the banking institutions?
So I mean, some of it's dealt with via relationships that we've got. So because of some of the relationships we've got, we get, I wouldn't say preferential, but we certainly get different experience to what Joe Public does. Some of it's about the volume that we do. So because we do 100 of these a month.
Wow.
We know what an underwriter is going to ask for.
Okay.
So sometimes it's about, heading the walls off at the door.
Yes.
And a bit like you taking on a property and that's got acreage.
Yeah.
You know that you've got to give them a specific pack to show what the land deed titles are, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, of course.
And we've got to do the same on the mortgage. So we've got to explain that yes, the tax return shows that they've got no money, but they've got this affluent business behind them that's got retained profit or family or whatever it is.
Yes, whatever it has to be.
And it's about portraying that picture.
Do you find, and a really, really great answer there, because I was thinking about, talking to our estate agents and, our introducers to you. I think that the most poignant part is for a vendor or a buyer is to come to you at the beginning time of process. Would you say that? Yeah,
I mean, particularly from a prestige partner point of view, you're dealing in a very complex market. Particularly at this moment in time where we've got lots of rates changing up, down, sideways, left, right, coming in, going out. You need to know that the vendors and the buyers that you're spending loads of time with are in a proceedable position.
Yeah.
Because if they're not, you're spending hours taking a property on the market and doing all that's involved with a high-end property, videos, floor plans, all the rest of it.
Yeah, of course.
For someone that might not be able to proceed.
And do you think, I mean, obviously, in my day, back in the day of Rolodex, when we were first, had mortgage advisors in branches, which was quite common, it was always been for me to, when I registered an applicant, or if I went around and saw a vendor, was the time to actually strike a mortgage application or a mortgage conversation, because I always thought you're doing the client the best by showing your commitment on how far you can go with services, and also the ability to perhaps get them a better deal.
Yeah. You've got to know what the client wants, right? Because different clients will want different things. But the most important thing, I think, is being able to compete with whoever it is you're up against if you're trying to get a property in the market, for example. So there are corporate estate agents, we shan't name names, but there's corporate estate agents that work in your world that will have that full suite offering, and they'll have the prestigious financial services propositions, solicitors, floor plan, all the rest of it. And you need to be able to compete with that, because that might be the one point of difference where Mr. and Mrs. Smith says, actually, I'm going to go on with X and not Prestige and Village because of that.
Of course.
And you want to make sure that when you're presenting your offering to them, that you are doing everything everyone else can do and that little bit more.
100%, and I can't agree with you more. And that's kind of how I've always sort of lived my business life through the real high, idea that the mortgage services or the financial services, the multi-interest agency, is very prolific. And hence probably why in the 80s why all the lenders were buying up estate agencies, because they saw as the strike of call to gets the mortgage first of all, and it's still very much there. But it's also getting the client or the agent nowadays to think that the service is someone who of your excellence, which I have seen personally and in your company, offering the ability to, where most lenders will go, oh, we can't do that because they can't go for that extra application form because the computer says no. You actually get in a case through which was generally quite a straightforward case. So I'm thinking, am I right to say that you go beyond perhaps a few yards than most other brokers are allowed to in some of these corporate organisations? without,
I'd like to think
in
so.
a nice way, you know.
I mean, we pride ourselves on being able to do the undoable. You know,
Yeah.
that's the mantra, and one of our core values as a business
Good mantra.
is we are solution focused.
Yeah.
So yes, let's look at the problems, but let's find the solutions and not just talk about the problems. And I think what my industry is full of is computer says no, as you've rightly said.
Yeah.
And it's full of people that say, well, you don't tick the box for that particular lender,
Yeah.
so therefore it's a no, rather than how can we find a lender that is accepting of these circumstances, or how can we present it to a lender in a slightly different way or a better way to get the result that we want.
Yeah, fine. And talking about the estate agencies helping you, or the agents, or say estate agents in our organisation, to get that client in front of you. I suppose in their eyes we have to educate the agents to think differently and be confident on the service that you're offering. So, and what I've noticed you have done is managed to sit on Zoom calls with our partners.
Yep.
And some have been quite responsive.
Yep.
Some are still got to learn.
Yeah, we've still got some way to go with
exactly that. Early days,
Yeah,
softly, slowly.
Absolutely.
But you know, I think, is there anything from our end which you think we could do to help our partners, or be more educated into the mortgage side of questions, or you know?
Well, I think it's just about education, isn't it? Education. The more they understand the bigger picture, whether it's financial services or legal partner or whatever, having those points of contact involved within your chains, within the deals that you've got running, will protect your pipeline and your time better.
Yeah.
The ones that I see, not just with you, but with all of the other agents we look after across the UK, that have the most success, generally speaking, are the ones that approach it as a business and not as a transaction.
Correct.
They're approaching it to make sure that they are maximising their time. And by that, what I mean is not spending time with people that can't proceed, making sure deals don't fall apart because they've not been agreed properly, making sure that they are achieving a revenue, if you like, out of those clients that they're spending time
I've got
with.
it. So you would say, and I would say, if I'm right to say this, it goes back to real basics. Is that point of registration, that point of actually talking to the applicant, identifying where a lot of probably agents are not just taking a name, taking a telephone number, and not qualifying the lead correctly.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where the polish has to be.
Well, back in my junior days of agency, we were always taught to try and get a client on the phone for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
If you can go to the 5 minute barrier, then you've won, because the client's then going to know, like, and trust you, and they're going to start to take your advice rather than your sales pitch. And that's something that I talk to my team about all of the time, is getting that client to, you know, understand them properly, to really understand why they want to move. Is it because of schooling? Is it because of the lifestyle change?
Well, it's kind of like what you're saying is client contact. And I think kind of where we've got to also mix the old with the new, it's very fair enough to say that emails are fabulous and the blue dots, and I get hundreds of them a day. And dear, pick the phone up, please. And I think kind of, I always had a rule when I was in the younger days of a estate agency, and even still now, so that, you know, speaks to a customer once, it's a customer twice, third time it turns into a client. And it's just that, making that person a client, building that trust up, building a service up.
Taking a genuine interest in the people that you're looking after.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if you, let's say, know, like, and trust, if you can take a genuine interest in them and you understand that the boy plays football on a Saturday, or I'm being very stereotypical here, or their little girl dances on a Saturday, or their favourite football team, or whatever it is that you can talk about them, then that conversation becomes a relationship
100%.
and not a have you found a property yet?
Yes.
Are you ready to sell yet? Conversation. And if you can make those conversations into relationships and not transactional,
I think and that's a great business. That's kind of a business that you should be proud of, because they're going to get repeat work, recommendation work, and you know, we'll know the best form of advertising is just the word of mouth. Exactly that.
Customers, you know, people that love what you do will tell everyone about you.
Yeah.
People that hate what you do and say that you didn't take any interest in them, you weren't only interested if they wanted to buy the property.
Bottom line money.
They will also tell everyone.
Of course they do, and that's
So
history of life.
your week is however many hours long you make it. You might as well make those hours count.
Exactly. And let's say plans for this year with Prestige and Village. We've got some big events coming up. The Polo, which I know you know about. You're going to try and swing the wife not to go on holiday, but I understand that you're going to have to go on holiday. But
we're booked to Cyprus at the moment, so we shall see.
We shall see. Yeah, with the fairs going.
Who knows what's going on? But yeah.
And we've enjoyed having you around us. So anything that you'd want to bring to the table with moving forward to this year is going to be exciting. I think we've got a lot of things swirling around. We're working for London markets quite aggressively at the moment, and we're bringing an auction platform to the business. So there's a lot's going on, and welcome the opportunity of you coaching our property partners still.
Yeah.
Do you think there's anything we should do and add to a bit more on the property partner side of things? What's your suggestions?
From my point of view, I'm always keen to try and share some of the things and the best practices that I think work. The beauty I have is that we look after 25, 30 odd agents around East Anglia and South East.
Brilliant.
Predominantly. We do look after some in the north and wherever else, but predominantly we're South East and East Anglia based. And so seeing that, I see every week tens of agents that are all doing different things. And I spoke to Charlie just before and asked him what was going well for him. He's obviously doing lots of content at the moment, and that seems to be going really well. And I talk about that to the other agents we work with. So I'd love to be able to help your team not only with how to make more from financial services, but how to generally approach their individual businesses in a different way.
No, fair.
And add more value to them as individuals. But whether that is a group setting or on an individual basis, I'm very, very keen to interact.
Basically doing what you're doing now. Keep calm and carry on with them.
Yeah.
So tell me, you're the guys that you obviously handpicked and they came to you. Mm-hmm. Tell me about them.
So so as I say, got a team in Colchester. That team's grown.
Or your level of IQ on the business?
No, different levels. Horses for courses.
Okay, fine. Yeah.
So I've got a chap called Andy who runs the business with me. He's sales and development director. He runs the office and runs the broker team, make sure they've all got what they need, and we're giving the service to all of our clients that we should be. My role is I'm out and about with estate agents, building
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm BD basically, business development. So I'm keeping the hopper nice and full.
Yeah.
And then we've got a team of mortgage brokers.
It suits your personality, right?
Yeah. Well,
because you don't strike me as a bloke. All fairness to all of you sitting there all day long. You're like me.
No,
I don't mind it, but I'm quite an agitated guy. Need to be on the go. Yeah.
Yeah. I do Mondays and Fridays in the office.
Yeah.
And the rest of the week I'm out and about.
Yeah. Go.
That's probably the right balance.
Yeah. Lovely. Yeah.
So they've got a team of mortgage brokers that sit behind them, and then you've got a team of protection advisors as well, and then they're all backed up by a back office team that makes sure all of that bit we were just talking about gets done.
Quite a large fleet of guys you've grown in 10 years, which is great. So just from my understanding, that application form that you initially generate from a person, a vendor or a buyer that we introduced to you, that goes for a process of different divisions within your company.
Correct.
So it will start off being signed up and appointed. Then tell me about that process.
So the first point of contact would be a mortgage broker that will look after the client, and they'll be the main point of contact for that client all the way through. That mortgage broker is backed up by a case handler. Case handler's job is to get that mortgage offer out for that client as quickly as possible. So they're the ones that have great relationships with the lenders that we work with and the insurance providers that we work with, and they do a little bit of chasing with the solicitor as well, just to make sure, have you received the mortgage offer? Is there any questions? Are you waiting for any responses from the lender? And then make sure that moves as quickly as possible, because that's sometimes where things get stuck. In addition to that, we have a specialist protection team, and they make sure that the client's estate is protected if they were to pass away. So making sure that there's money to pay off any debts or to support any lifestyle. Making sure that the legality of the situation, so the laws of probate and all of that sort of stuff is taken care of as well. So they're looking after their wills and making sure they're arranged in the right way. Nice.
So exciting, isn't it? So they've all got a fundamental role, and mortgages. I suppose you must be doing a few a week now, right? To keep them busy.
We do a number.
Yeah, I bet you are. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
And you must be quite proud to have achieved what you've done.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say I'm proud.
So far,
we're on a journey, as I said earlier on. We're working on a 3-year plan, and if we can achieve that, I'll be very, very happy. Right now, I'm more frustrated, I think. Than
get it going, isn't it? Yeah, it's always that get it going, and I think kind of with the bumpy uncertainty which we've had, perhaps politically over the last few years, it's been quite an eventful trying to gauge where we're going, isn't it? You know. And do you see this market this year? I mean, obviously, I know we touched base on that. Do you think it's out there? They've got to beat their targets, these banks?
Yeah, banks definitely want to lend. So lending isn't going to be a problem. And there's going to be a lot of lenders out there that want to get things moving forward in 2026. I also think that clients want to get moving. I think we saw that in January. We had a lot of clients sitting on their hands for the last 3 to 6 months of the year in 2025. And they're now feeling, okay, rates are right where rates are. We're not going to see a massive change. Let's just get on with our lives and get things moving.
And John, we are venturing into the auction business.
Yes.
Okay, and I think we're going to hit it head on. And I've been speaking to my guys and teams about moving forward, and we're collecting and we're getting the swell going, and we're hoping to get that show on the road the next sort of 2 weeks.
Okay.
And we'd love you to be our partner in there. Talk to me about, I want to buy a place in auction. Can you help me on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've got different people in our business that do different things. So some that's focused on the higher end, some focus on the bread and butter stuff, and some that focus on the complex. So 28 days property falling down. If it involves the building of or the buying of bricks and mortar, then we can do it. When I say bricks and mortar, it can also be wood. Frames such as this lovely pub. I'm sure we could do. So whatever it is in that.
And do you know, I mean, some people thank you, that'd be wonderful to know that. And what about bridging? Is that something you do? Bridging finance? Because a lot of people like to bridge, don't they? Just to get the products if they see it on auction quick. Yeah. And can you react quick on that? On bridging? Good.
So, I mean, bridging tends to be the way for auction. Yeah. Because it's quick and they don't have as much higher bar in terms of property as perhaps a residential lender does. Yeah. So, if it hasn't got kitchens, bathrooms, staircases, then a bridging lender is going to be accepting it. And we've got bridges through in a week.
Have you really? Yeah. Interesting.
So you can get them through super fast. Now, the quicker you want it, and the worse the property is, the more it's going to cost.
Of course it is.
Right? It's a business-based transaction. Yeah. So if you're buying something that's falling down, then you're going to pay the money for it.
So a lot of people think that, wouldn't they? They think they see something in an auction, and their first thing would be to, well, I mean, it's a state. Who's going to lend me the money? Yeah. But it's going to be a different way of borrowing money, I suppose. Is that right? Yeah. Do they have higher securities? I mean, how does that work?
Not necessarily higher security. So they're still going to take a first charge on the mortgage. Okay. On the property. But what they will do is they'll charge a higher rate and charge a higher fee for it. Okay. So bridges tend to be worked out on a monthly fee rather than an annual fee. And you can have it normally for up to 12 months, although there are some 18-month and 24-month products out there, but normally it's 12 months. And really, we'd want to work with the client to get them off a bridge and remortgage that into a more regular product within the 12-month period.
But I suppose in some instances, if they're buying something a bit ramshackled on, the lender would go no, but then you'll be able to port the buyer into the right advice anyway.
Correct. Yeah. So we would sit down with the client. We'd understand what they want to achieve. What's the goal? How quickly are we going to refurbish this or exit it? Are you selling it? Are you going to rent it out? Are you going to live in it? What are you going to do? And then we design a product for the client around that fits their needs.
Superb. And with the rates, what are generally the rates variable, but are they sort of over base, 5, 6 over base, sometimes 7 over base? I don't know how it usually works.
It doesn't really work like that. It's more bespoke pricing on that on the bridging. So I probably wouldn't want to commit to what they are, but because it depends on a whole.
But nevertheless, the client will come to us and see something on our auction platform, and of course we're going to recommend.
Yeah, absolutely.
Foster's.
Yeah, and then we'll get Ollie or one of the other guys on it, and they will find an appropriate lender for the client.
Brilliant. John, lovely to be with you, and let's have a beer and thank you for your time.
Cheers. Pleasure.
Cheers.